Up now, we're hearing from Michael O, who's the CEO of CoolBit. The topic is the purpose of wallet adoption and the application in crypto moving forward. I actually got a sneak peek of his wallet back there. It's pretty cool. So can you please give him a very warm welcome to the stage? That was great.
Green button. And how do I turn it to next? Oh, OK, got it. Hello, everyone. I'm giving a talk about the purpose of wallet and its applications moving towards crypto mass adoption. And a little introduction about myself before going to the topic. I'm Michael O. I'm from Taiwan. And I own a business, a 20-year-old business, who serves over 50 banks and in over 30 countries in the world with our banking security solutions. That's my background, and it explains why I'm about to explain what I do. Even Apple and Samsung are our clients. And we help Visa and MasterCard and China UnionPay to set up their benchmark for the display one-time password cards industry. So we are the pioneer in the display card industry. And in 2013, when I first heard about Bitcoin, I thought it's an excellent idea. It's an excellent industry. It's got full potentials. But then I look at the market, and I look at the financial instruments, like software wallets and hardware wallets. I realized there's something wrong with it. I realized if we are about to bring this crypto into mainstream to mass adoption, this is not how it's supposed to work. Because on one hand, in hard wallets, the software wallets, it's so convenient, easy to use, free to download from the app stores, but it's not secure. On the other hand, you have hardware wallets, the cold storages. They are mostly USB-based. But can you imagine you go into a shop and ask the merchant, hey, I'm about to pay with my crypto with my USB stick. Can you stick it into your laptop? No. Right, so we need something in between that's both convenient and secure. So that's the core philosophy when I first started the company in 2014. So what we've built is something between hot wallets and cold wallets. So we name ourselves CoolWallet. Yep. And since 2014, we already sold out more than 100,000 units, and we received over 8 digits US dollars funding from large companies like the world's biggest mining company, Bitmain, or the Japanese biggest banking group, SBI Holdings. We are all here because we all know crypto is going to the moon one day, right? But we've reached a bottleneck since the price hit the peak early this year. And why is the bottleneck? Because today, entire crypto space only reach a very limited amount of population, less than 1%. And why is that? And who are those 1% of the population, except for us? It's actually just us. So who are we? We are almost the same demographic as the ones who access dark web or deep web, cryptocurrency, 1% population with typically higher interest in riskier investment asset classes, and with higher access to more difficult to get informations. But where is the rest of the 99% of population? Where is the mainstream? They are the people who access through surface web, traditional asset classes, and through banking or mainstream media. Why? Because those population, they find it very difficult to understand what we are talking about, because the information source they have are very fragmented. You have countless crypto media on the internet, but if you ask your cousins, your parents, they wouldn't have any idea which ones are the most valuable source. Instead, they would trust things like a very established brand like BBC or Bloomberg. On the other hand, getting information is just one thing. The next step is, how do they really get into the business? How do they really invest? They need to find an access. Again, currently those access sites, the entrance sites, they are still fragmented and mostly unregulated. So given they were already uncomfortable with the information they receive, they are already uncertain about what to invest. And then you tell them to go on to Google and search for any random exchange sites or brokerage sites to get your crypto. That makes it even more challenging for them. So and why is that? It's because those audiences, they don't understand the difference between those sites. They are all unfamiliar brands to them. They are not mainstream brands. And why is it difficult for the mainstream people to understand the differences? Because they are already very occupied with their daily lives. They probably are raising kids, they are working 7 days a week, etc. That makes it difficult for them to absorb, digest those informations. Or either they stay in the comfort zone, they lack of information access, they don't have time to research, lack of knowledge, education, or they are probably just lazy, etc. So what do we do to solve that obstacle? What do we do to really bring crypto to mainstream, to the mainstream media and to the mainstream financial institutions? Let's take a look at the brief history of payment technologies and regulations. In the very early days, let's start from the Diners Club. That's the first version of credit card. It feels like a piece of paper. And then later on, Visa came in, MasterCard came in. They developed the first version of credit card in a pure plastic body with embossing, like 3D printed texture on the surface of the card. And then back in the days, the merchants will have to use a giant machine to scrap over that plastic card to get your payment done. And then it evolved to magnetic stripe, to contact chip, and then to contactless chip, and then to online payment. So why the evolution? Because of two reasons. First, security. Second, better ease of use. So coming from the banking security industry, I'm bringing the same experience into crypto. PCIDS is a payment card industry certification organization that acts as an international recognized body and responsible for all the banking and governments, for all the transaction fraud and the security mechanisms and the requirement, the basics of all the payment technologies. So this is something industry players like us should be pushing into the governments. So once we have that, governments will be saying, okay, now we understand how it works. We understand how to protect the consumers' assets, because that's what government cared about the most. They don't want you being a bank and issue some kind of software wallet to your customers, and one day they all got hacked. That's the risk government cannot take. And another two concerns from governments are first, anonymity and legalization. It's a lot to do with AML and KYC. So what government cares about the most, again, is first taxation, capital control, and fighting against funding to terrorism. But nowadays, although a lot of governments like Japan, Korea, Europe, and US already legalize and regulate cryptocurrency, they give exchange licenses to, for example, Coinbase or Bitflyer, etc. But still, the fiat to crypto process has been going on and off, and it's been not smooth. And why? Because there's always a pain in the ass of the government that they all know once your fiat, your US dollars go into crypto, it's no longer trackable.
Thank God.
So what do we do to make governments and central banks more comfortable with the entire crypto industry? First, we have to solve their issues, the KYC, know your customer, and AML, anti-money laundering. Then here comes the dilemma. Isn't it said the entire cryptocurrency is about anonymity and freedom of money? Yes, it is in the beginning. But then, as we mentioned earlier, we've reached a bottleneck. Those who care about the actual anonymity and the freedom are not 100% of the population. We have the rest of 99% of population, don't forget about it. There are a lot of people who just want to invest. They don't care about whether it's anonymous or not. They just want to feel it's a legitimate asset class. It's assured, it's protected by governments and central banks. They know if something is wrong, somebody will cover their ass. So the purpose of wallet moving forward should be building an entire KYC environment where cryptos are only allowed to transfer in and out to a KYC address. Now, people are gonna be saying, isn't that against the purpose of the cryptocurrency? Now, I would say, take a look at this image. It's just like the internet now. You have surface web, your everyday access to Google, to Yahoo, and you have deep web, slightly more difficult to access information, and then you have the dark web, the information you have to access through very specific tools like Tor. So in the environment we should be building should be like the same thing as we have in internet. In the Wild West, you will have entire anonymous crypto environment, but the ones you want to provide through legitimate institutions like banks or central banks or through government services with government licenses should be the ones on the surface. So in my mind, it should be run in parallel. One way, you have the surface, everything white, everything clean, transparent. On the other hand, you have the original liberal world. And remember what it takes for us to achieve the graph in this image. How do we go to the moon? We need the rest of the 99 population. And people are going to ask me why we start with a hardware wallet. Andreas once said in the Mastering Bitcoin book, if you don't own your private key, you don't own your crypto coins. Why does he say that? Now, does anyone have any hardware wallets? Can you raise your hand? Okay, that's a very good audience group. So I'm sure a lot of your friends or a lot of people, crypto investors you meet, they would store their cryptos on just exchanges like Coinbase. They'll say, because I'm more of a casual investor, I'm lazy. But that's not really the right way to do it, because you're essentially letting another party to have full control of your assets. So ringing a bell of Mt. Gox, anybody remember that? Yeah. So that's the worst case that might possibly happen if you store all your assets in somebody else's pocket. And why that's something attractive to do for hacker or for owner of an exchange? Let's put it this way. Typically, those exchanges company value or capital, let's say it's 100 million US dollars. That sounds a lot. But imagine they have typically 20 million users. And each user, let's just say they store 10,000 US dollars. How much money is that? It's many times more than the capital of the company. So isn't that attractive for the owner of the company if the company is not making a good profit? One day they'll just say, OK, I'm about to retire. Let's close those accounts and go to Caribbean Sea. Yeah. And I want to make an emphasis on the hardware wallet we built. How is it different from other hardware wallets and software wallets? And why is ourselves in between? So software wallets, they are convenient, but not safe. And hardware wallets, they are mostly desktop only or laptop only. Again, you don't want to be paying at a merchant with a USB stick. And you don't want to carry your laptops with you all the time. So in many occasions, we meet a lot of customers come to our booth. They want to pay with crypto, let's say 200, 300 US dollars worth of Litecoin. And then they'll go, I forgot my Trezor. I left my Trezor or Ledger at home. Can I pay tomorrow? I'll bring my Ledger tomorrow. Now talking about mass adoption, is that something you want to see when people are using it? No, right? So this is precisely why we built our wallet like this. Give me a moment. I bring it in my wallet every day with me. It's a credit card sized device. It fits in your actual leather wallet. And it has a Bluetooth communication that connects with both your iOS and Android devices. So that's the first and only hardware wallet that does it now in the market. So what we want to achieve is we want people to forget about how hardware wallet used to work with laptops. Now forget about laptops. It's a mobile-first approach now. And we want to eliminate the pure app-based, pure software wallets. I mean, we're not going to kill all those companies, but they can do a very fancy, very user-friendly interface on the app. But talking about storing the private keys, protecting the private keys, leave it to hardware. Because if you ever work in a smartphone company, you would know there's backdoor in every single smartphone, regardless it's Android or iPhone. So what happens if, let's say, an app-based wallet, they have over 10 million users who store a large amount of crypto on their phone. And one day, this backdoor is exploited. They all get hacked. Right? So that's not something acceptable by an industry that's going mainstream. And that's the vision of our company. Thank you very much. Anybody has any question? Yes.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. Are the mobile phones that vulnerable? You said there's a backdoor, or we presume that there's a backdoor on every mobile and even laptop. Then how can we use any crypto wallets on our mobile?
So the idea is you shouldn't store any private keys in the app on your smartphone. Even if you do, just leave that entire phone in a separate room that's not connected to the internet. Unplug the SIM card, disconnect from the Wi-Fi, make it a pure storage. If it's on your daily using phone, don't do that. And I'm not just making up, there's a backdoor in every smartphone, it's truth. One perfect example is, I think 2-3 years ago, there's an incident where there was a mass shooting in the US, and the police got the phone from the wife of the suspect. And they asked Apple, please unlock the phone for me. Apple said, no, we wouldn't do it. It's customer first. But they didn't say we cannot do it. They didn't say we are not capable of doing it. They can. They just don't want to. What does that tell?
And somebody did.
And somebody did in Israel, yes. Yeah, that gives you the information. It's something in the phone is extractable.
So Apple has access to my password, theoretically, or?
Yeah, essentially they can get into your phone anytime. Does that work?
You may have said this. How many currencies does that wallet support? What all can happen on there?
Okay, currently we support Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP, ERC20 tokens, a bunch of them. And we are adding 1 to 2 type of coins every 1 to 2 months, depending on our pipeline. And the next coming up is Zencash.
So you said it's not hot, it's not cold. Cool.
It's cool.
So long-term storage, just Trezor, things of that nature. I mean, do you see this as the everyday wallet that you use for what you use for a monthly budget or weekly budget? I mean, how are you using it?
I use it for all of my assets. It's even more secure than Ledger or Trezor because what we practice is so-called 2+1 authentication, whereas other hardware wallets, they practice only 1+1. It means somebody got your USB wallet plus your PIN, your passcode, then you're done. But ours is one layer safer than that. Ours is the card recognizes my own phone. So if you pick up my phone, you wouldn't be able to access it.
That's the Bluetooth.
That's Bluetooth plus some UUID plus random number generator and the encryption hash, not predictable. And then we enable the biometric function in your phone. So you have to have the device itself and the owner's phone and owner's face.
So, so the card needs to pair with the phone, but then the card does not need to pair with the merchant, or you just use it as a regular card?
Oh, OK. It's not like a credit card you have to swipe or tap or anything. It's like every other crypto wallet. You pay to a destination address. Either you copy and paste or you scan the QR code through your on your mobile phone app. And then once you enter the amount you want to send and the destination address, you press confirm. Then the phone will ask you to turn on the card to confirm that transaction and sign the transaction signature inside the card offline. Thank you.
Are the private keys generated offline in the hardware piece? And do those ever see the internet in any way?
Yeah, the private keys are generated. I mean, we call it seed. There's a recovery seed phrase. It's generated on the offline device, the card itself. There's a screen of the card that shows it.
And if in the future, let's say there was anything to ever happen to the company CoolWallet or the CoolBit, how would we go about extracting the private keys?
Yeah, actually, no one can extract private keys from the card itself. Instead, if you want to recover your account, you go to another wallet that supports BIP 39, 43, 44 protocols, and you dump that recovery seed phrase into it, you get your keys back.
Okay, and last thing, if there's multiple coins supported, would those recovery phrases work? Let's say for the XRP, but also for the Bitcoin. How would that work?
Okay, so every wallet that supports HD, hierarchical deterministic structure, will be able to recover you the specific assets. Sometimes you'll have to, let's say, if we support 10 types of coins, and wallet A only supports 8 types, and wallet B supports the rest of the 2 types, then you have to go to both.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
You said you've been doing this for 20 years. How old are you?
I'm 31, but actually my family owns a business that's 20-year-old, and I'm the chairman of that company since last year.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
I was just wondering, I'm assuming there's an internal battery on the card. What is the battery life on that, and how do you charge it?
There's a rechargeable lithium battery inside the card, and the charging cycle is typically 500 cycles, and each charge only takes 2 hours, and it lasts between 3 weeks to 6 months, depending on your usage. So let's say you do 2-3 transactions a day, it lasts 3 weeks. So 3 weeks multiplies by 500, that's the minimum life of it.
Is it only activated when you turn your Bluetooth on?
It's only activated when you long press the button, and it will shut itself down in 2 minutes if you do nothing on it.
Do you think it's going to be possible anytime soon to do like NFC or anything where you can just tap like Apple Pay?
Awesome question. That's something we are developing, and the fact that this chip is equipped with a dual interface chip, it means it's got an NFC already. We just didn't activate it because we are still working with the post-terminal producers on this new function. So if things are going as we expected, in the next 3 quarters, we'll have 10 million merchants accepting the NFC payments.
In what geographical area?
Ideally, US.
Is there any possibility that you could just partner with Apple and get it into Apple Wallet?
Well, Apple is difficult to deal with. I'll be working on it.
So what's going to determine the usage base on the other side with the merchants?
Okay, so at the back of the merchant, there will be a settlement system that will help them to either transfer crypto instantly to fiat, depending on merchant's configuration, whether they want to keep the crypto or fiat. But there's something we are working on that I cannot disclose too much details, but the idea is we don't want, the merchants won't be taking the fluctuation of the price risks.
I just think it's a great concept. This may be the entry door for a lot of what us are looking for to make adoption possible. There's so much of the population that's just too complicated. We can say we can load it on this card, they're used to that, it makes sense.
Yes.
That's actually all the time we have for, but thank you so much.
Thank you.